I sell my vote, and so what? Incidents, social bias, and correlates of clientelism in Colombia. The article delves into the persistent challenge of clientelism within Colombian politics, a phenomenon deeply entrenched in the country's electoral processes. Clientelism involves the exchange of goods or services for political support, wherein politicians offer tangible benefits such as jobs, food, or favors in return for votes. This practice undermines the principles of democracy by distorting electoral processes, perpetuating inequality, and eroding trust in political institutions. The problem at hand is multifaceted. It not only compromises the integrity of elections, but also exacerbates socioeconomic disparities. Those most vulnerable to poverty and marginalization are often the primary targets of clientelistic practices, perpetuating a cycle of dependence and reinforcing social divisions among economic lines. Moreover, clientelism perpetuates a culture of political patronage where loyalty to a specific candidate or party is driven more by immediate material gains rather than informed political choices. Understanding the prevalent social biases and correlation of clientelism is crucial for devising effective strategies to address this issue. By uncovering who engages in vote selling, why they do so, and the broader implications for democratic governance, the study aims to inform policymakers, civil society organizations, and citizens alike. Ultimately, tackling clientelism requires systemic reforms that promote transparency, accountability, and equal political participation, thereby strengthening the democratic foundations of Colombian society. The prevalence of clientelism in Colombian politics holds significant implications for the country's democratic governance and social fabric. Firstly, clientelism undermines the fundamental principles of democracy by distorting electoral processes and diminishing the legitimacy of elected representatives. When votes are exchanged for material favors rather than based on informed choices and political ideologies, the democratic will of the people is compromised. Moreover, clientelism perpetuates socioeconomic inequalities by disproportionately benefiting those in power and exacerbating the marginalization of vulnerable communities. By targeting individuals from lower socioeconomic backgrounds who are in need of immediate assistance, politicians deepen the cycle of poverty and dependency, perpetuating a system of unequal access to resources and opportunities. Additionally, clientelism erodes trust in political institutions and fosters a culture of cynicism among citizens. When electoral outcomes are perceived as predetermined by patronage networks rather than reflective of genuine public support, faith in the democratic process is diminished. This lack of trust can lead to disengagement from political participation altogether, further undermining the democratic legitimacy of the government. In summary, the prevalence of clientelism in Colombian politics matters because it undermines democratic principles, perpetuates socioeconomic inequalities, erodes trust in institutions, and fosters a culture of political cynicism. Addressing this issue is essential for promoting transparency, accountability, and equal political participation, thereby strengthening the foundations of Colombian democracy and fostering a more inclusive and equitable society. Before this study, our understanding of clientelism in Colombian politics was largely based on anecdotal evidence and fragmented research. While there is a general acknowledgement of its prevalence, systemic analysis was lacking. Previous studies often focused on the role of political parties and candidates in perpetuating clientelism, overlooking the socioeconomic factors driving individuals to engage in vote selling. Anecdotal evidence suggested that clientelism was widespread in Colombian elections, with reports of politicians offering material incentives such as food, jobs, or favors in exchange for votes. However, without comprehensive data and empirical analysis, the extent and determinants of clientelism remained unclear. Additionally, existing research tended to focus on high-profile cases or specific regions, providing limited insights into the broader patterns and correlations of clientelism across the country. While some studies acknowledge the detrimental effects of clientelism on democratic governance and social cohesion, there is a lack of consensus on effective strategies to address the problem. Without a comprehensive understanding of the underlying drivers and correlations of clientelism, policymakers and civil society organizations face challenges in designing targeted interventions to combat this phenomenon effectively. Overall, prior to this study, our knowledge of clientelism in Colombian politics was fragmented, and there was a need for rigorous empirical research to shed light on its prevalence, social biases, and correlations. The authors address the problem of clientelism in Colombian politics through a rigorous empirical approach, combining survey data analysis with econometric techniques to uncover patterns, correlations, and underlying mechanisms driving vote selling. Firstly, they collect comprehensive survey data from various regions of Colombia, ensuring representation from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds. This allows them to capture the nuances of clientelistic practices across different demographic groups and geographic areas. Next, the authors employ sophisticated econometric techniques such as regression analysis to analyze the survey data and identify significant correlations between socioeconomic status, education, political engagement, and participation in clientelistic practices. By quantitatively assessing these relationships, they provide robust evidence of the factors influencing individuals' propensity to engage in vote selling. Furthermore, the authors delve into the role of political parties and candidates in perpetuating clientelism, examining their strategies and incentives for engaging in such practices. Through qualitative analysis and case studies, they offer insights into the mechanisms through which clientelism operates within Colombia's political landscape. Overall, by combining quantitative analysis with qualitative insights, the authors provide a comprehensive understanding of the prevalence, social biases, and correlations of clientelism in Colombian politics. Their empirical approach allows them to uncover previously unrecognized patterns and drivers of vote selling, informing efforts to combat this phenomenon and strengthen democratic governance in Colombia. The research concludes with several significant findings regarding the prevalent social biases and correlations of clientelism in Colombian politics. Firstly, the study reveals that poverty, lack of education, and limited political engagement are associated with a higher likelihood of engaging in vote selling. This highlights the disproportionate impact of clientelism on marginalized communities, perpetuating socioeconomic disparities and reinforcing cycles of poverty and dependency. Moreover, the research underscores the significant role of political parties and candidates in perpetuating clientelism. By offering material incentives in exchange for votes, politicians deepen their hold on power and undermine the democratic process. This finding emphasizes the need for systemic reforms to address the root causes of clientelism and promote transparency and accountability in political campaigns. Furthermore, the study sheds light on the complex interplay between socioeconomic factors, political engagement, and clientelistic processes. By uncovering the underlying mechanisms driving vote selling, the research provides valuable insights into the dynamics of Colombian politics and informs efforts to strengthen democratic governance. Overall, the conclusions of the research underscore the pervasive nature of clientelism in Colombian politics and its detrimental effects on democracy and social cohesion. The findings highlight the urgency of addressing this issue through targeted interventions and systemic reforms aimed at promoting electoral integrity, transparency, and equal political participation. While this research provides valuable insights into the prevalent social biases and correlations of clientelism in Colombian politics, it does not offer a definitive solution to the problem. Rather, it serves as a crucial step towards understanding the complex dynamics of clientelistic practices and their implications for democratic governance. By uncovering significant correlations between poverty, lack of education, and political engagement with participation in clientelism, the research informs policymakers, civil society organizations, and citizens alike about the underlying drivers of vote selling. This knowledge can guide the design and implementation of targeted interventions aimed at addressing the root causes of clientelism and promoting electoral integrity. Furthermore, the research highlights the role of political parties and candidates in perpetuating clientelism, underscoring the need for systemic reforms to enhance transparency and accountability in political campaigns. By shedding light on these dynamics, the research empowers stakeholders to advocate for policy changes and institutional reforms that can help mitigate the influence of clientelism on Colombian politics. While this research does not offer a definitive solution to the problem of clientelism, it lays the groundwork for further investigation and policy intervention. By fostering a better understanding of the drivers and correlations of clientelism, this research contributes to ongoing efforts to strengthen democratic governance and promote electoral integrity in Colombia. Despite the valuable insights provided by this research, several avenues for further exploration remain open in understanding and addressing the issue of clientelism in Colombian politics. Firstly, while the study identifies significant correlations between socioeconomic factors and participation in clientelistic practices, further research could delve deeper into the underlying mechanisms driving these relationships. Understanding the causal pathways through which poverty, education, and political engagement influence individuals' propensity to engage in vote selling can inform more targeted interventions to combat clientelism. Additionally, while the study highlights the role of political parties and candidates in perpetuating clientelism, further research could explore the effectiveness of different strategies for reducing their reliance on patronage networks. This could involve examining the impact of electoral reforms, campaign finance regulations, and measures to promote transparency and accountability in political campaigns. Furthermore, there is a need for longitudinal studies to assess the long-term impact of clientelism on democratic governance and social cohesion in Colombia. By tracking changes in vote voting behavior, political attitudes, and socioeconomic outcomes over time, researchers can better understand the evolving dynamics of clientelism and its implications for Colombian society. Overall, while this research provides valuable insights into the prevalence and correlations of clientelism in Colombian politics, there's still much to be learned about the underlying drivers, effective interventions, and long-term consequences of this phenomenon. Further research in these areas is essential for developing evidence-based strategies to strengthen democratic governance and promote electoral integrity in Colombia. In conclusion, while the study offers valuable insights into the prevalence, correlations, and consequences of clientelism in Colombian politics, it does not provide a definitive solution to the problem. Rather, it serves as a foundational piece of research that lays the groundwork for further investigation and policy intervention. By uncovering significant correlations between socioeconomic factors and participation in clientelistic practices, the study informs efforts to address the root causes of clientelism and promote electoral integrity. Moving forward, continued research and concerted action are needed to develop effective strategies for combating clientelism and strengthening democratic governance in Colombia.